Hi, I'm Becky Doyle, and I'm an author on the Debunking Addiction blog on healthyplace.com. Today I'm talking about when I hit bottom, because when I hit bottom, I still had a lot of the material things we use to define success or happiness. Still had my job, a car, an apartment to live in, friends, family. I had all the basic necessities and then some, but what I didn't have was hope. Every day, I just woke up and wished that I hadn't. Every time I drove my car, I fantasized about crashing it. The mere act of living felt like it was too much work, with not enough gain, and I was so tired of dealing with it. It didn't even feel like living at that point. I was drinking every day. Even if I wasn't binging, I had at least something to drink with dinner every night. I often fell asleep in the living room while I was drinking. Sometimes I was on the couch, sometimes I was on the floor, and sometimes my wine was on the floor. But I was a mess. Every now and again, my older sister had encouraged me to see a therapist, but I never did. This was partially because I felt like it seemed like it would take too much work to just find someone to talk to, let alone start the process. But I also felt that I was terrified. I was terrified of what that experience would be like, and I was not very willing to find out. But little did I know that not only did I need to see a therapist, but it would take regular visits with 4 therapists of varying titles and specialties to help get me back on track. So after I finished a stint in the hospital and a 28-inpatient rehab program, I started seeing a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a social worker, and I had weekly follow-up sessions with my rehab counselor. So I was busy. And for the first 3 months of my sobriety, I was still a mess. I continued to work with those 4 therapists, and the fuel that kept me going on a daily basis, the motivation I had to keep moving forward, was the promise they gave me that one day I would feel better. I met dozens of people who could relate to what I was feeling. They listened to me, they gave me advice, and they encouraged me, and they just told me, keep coming back, it'll get better. So I did. And for 90 days, I felt heavy. I felt as if I was weighed down by the guilt and shame of my past behaviors. And on my 90th day without a drink, it was lifted. I woke up from a nap and I felt hope for the first time in years. I didn't crave a drink, and I didn't want to die, but I didn't do anything remarkable or different that day. I still can't help but think that the sudden relief I experienced came about as a result of having worked so hard for several weeks before. Some of it may have also been biological, but I'm not sure I'll ever really know. I'm just grateful that I stayed sober long enough to experience it. And if you're struggling right now, I hope you stay sober long enough to experience what I did, because it can happen for you too.